Come on, come on in, guys. You can tell it's been a while since I've done this when I start flubbing my words like as soon as I come on. So, yes, do not adjust your screen. I am actually here today. I decided to, over on Instagram, create a Jimmy Rants username. So if you go to Instagram now, I have a username, Jimmy Rants. And so I created that yesterday. And with that, I decided to see if I could go live there, what the logistics would be like, if it would give me more than 15 minutes. I know sometimes when you're a brand new account, they don't always let you go long, so I'm going to test that today. So I thought I'd let you guys come on in as well. I was gonna just go live on Instagram, but then I'm like, well, wait a minute. If my YouTube and Facebook fans find out that I went live and I didn't go live with you guys, you would be pissed. And so, right? You would be pissed if I went live over on Instagram, but not with you guys. So yeah, just back for today, I'm testing the new Jimmy Rants Instagram page today. So we're gonna go live at Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. So just letting you guys kind of watch today like you always do. Because I don't know how this is gonna go. I've only done it on Living Low Carb Man forever. And I know on there, it lets me go an hour, even sometimes over an hour. So I don't know, is it gonna titrate me to just 15, 20 minutes? I don't know. So I guess we'll all find out together. But I have a doozy of a topic. And definitely it's in the news right now, and I'm thinking, man, I definitely want to talk about this subject. Was I deplatformed, Missy? No, I still have Living Low Carb Man, but I was thinking a lot over the past few weeks since I've been off. I've been thinking a lot about the complaints people had about Living Low Carb Man having other things besides just like nutrition and health talked about on there. And so the more I thought about it, and I've been wanting to do kind of Jimmy Rants as its own entity. And Jimmy Rants, you guys know, I talk about everything on this show. And so, no, I still have Living Low Carb Man, but I wanted to just have a platform for the Jimmy Rants show, you know, and ideally I would love to have a Jimmy Rants Facebook page that I go live from, as well as the live Jimmy Rants Instagram. I don't think I'll necessarily make a Jimmy Rants YouTube because you guys are faithful there. You guys keep coming back. So, yeah, Alfie, and I know about Moderna's. I'm going to focus specifically on Pfizer today because Pfizer played some fudgy things with the numbers, and I'm going to talk about those things today. Hello, guys. Come on in. Hello, Christy, Craig, Shirley. Thank you all for being here. And there's a whole bunch of you guys here. Carol, Norma, Joyce, Janice, Jennifer, Mitzi, Alfie, and Lynn. Thank you guys for being here. So yeah, we're going to get started on the brand new Jimmy Rants Instagram page. And so you're thinking, well, I thought you were going to be gone for the rest of 2020. That was the plan. This is twofold. I want to test what the new Jimmy Rants Instagram page, how long it's going to let me go. If it cuts me off, I'll just keep going with you guys. So either way, you guys are getting the full rant today. I just don't know if it's going to let me go an hour over there or not. So if it starts to count me down at 13 minutes, I'll know I only got 15 minutes or whatever. But I definitely have lots to talk about with this topic. And plus this topic, I've been watching it unfold while I've been gone. And I'm not touching the election, by the way, with a 10-foot pole. Not going to do it, just no. I have a lot to say about it, but I'm not going to say it on here because people will get their panties in a wad, and I'm not interested in that. But this vaccine thing is going to impact us all, especially people that are loved ones that are, oh, I guess I need the vaccine. Well, you're going to learn some stuff today specifically about the Pfizer one, that maybe you don't need to jump so quickly at this. And I know they're going to push it really hard on us. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for being here. Hello, Martha. All right, well, we're going to get this show on the road. And again, I've got a brand new Jimmy Rants Instagram page. So that's what we're going to focus on today. I'm going live there for the very first time. I'm following you on Instagram. It doesn't look like you're live. No, I'm not live yet, Christy. I see, this is the little magic to the show. I go live on Facebook and on YouTube long before I go live at the official time. So, hello, Holly. So I'm going live right now. I'm about to go live right now on Jimmy Rants. Definitely, if you're following me on the Instagram page, the new Instagram page, you'll see me there. Yeah, you're live right now on YouTube or live on Facebook. I'm going live now. So I'm going to start the show. This is kind of like my little casual banter before I start the show. And when I'm done with the show, I end it there and I'm still talking to you guys. So that's kind of the bonus for you guys to watch it where you watch it. But the official show is right here on Instagram. And now I'm running late, so I need to get going. But thank you for that, helping me clarify that. Hello, John. Thanks for being here. All right, so let's get this show on the road. And here we go. The new Pfizer drug for the V word is coming out with a 90+% efficacy rate. Is it true? Find out the details here today on Jimmy Rants. And yes, we are here. JimmyRants.com is the website, and this is the brand new Jimmy Rants Instagram page. So if you're watching this, I created an Instagram page just for Jimmy Rants, and so welcome, welcome. If you're here, you're not here by accident because you followed my new page. I'm really happy to see so many of you guys now here on the brand new Jimmy Rants Instagram page. I've been wanting to do this page for a little while. And it made total sense. It's like I have done low carb diets and health and things like that for many years, but I wanted to have something specifically for the Jimmy Rants family. And so that's you guys. And that way I can talk about anything I want. Nobody tells me to stay in my lane because Jimmy Rants, my name's in the show, so I can talk about anything I want, and that's my lane. So that's what I wanted to do here on this new show. I definitely wanted to see what this format would be like on the new one. I know I have almost 20,000 followers on my Live in Low Carb page, but this one here, and if you're watching this on some other format and you want to follow it, over on Instagram, I'm now at Jimmy Rants. So that makes it easy to find me. And we will definitely be going live a lot in 2021 right here from at Jimmy Rants. We are simulcasting as always over on Facebook and YouTube. And so the trick here, the reason I wanted to do this one here today, yes, I'm still gone. Don't think I'm back yet. A lot of you have been very kind to me. Oh my God, we miss your voice. We miss seeing your ugly face. I mean, we miss seeing your face. And I'm like, thank you for that. And I've missed you guys. I've missed doing this. But I wanted to test this today on the new at Jimmy Rants over on Instagram. So that's kind of what the modus operandi of this is here today. And I got a doozy of a topic for you guys that I can't wait to share about. But definitely see all the past episodes over at JimmyRants.com. That's where we house all the past ones. We also put the past ones over on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You'll find the show over there. And yeah, so at Jimmy Rants on Instagram. If you're not following it, well, obviously you're following it because you're here watching it live. And there's some new features on this version. So you're seeing my thumb in front of the camera. Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out all the new features. I used to be able to pin a comment. It's not letting me pin the comment anymore. Anyway, trial by fire. So I'm back for one day. So let's make this fun today because, and we're not talking about the election because I wouldn't shut up. I think we all are tired of the election, so we're not going to talk about that. But I want to talk about something that I think is just as important as the election, and that's the V word. And we're going to call it the V word because big tech is having a hissy fit about people saying that word and then trying to shadow ban / censor. And so this was another reason I wanted to go live. I have just under 300 followers on the brand new page I just created. So thank you guys for subscribing. But just under 300 followers, and I have, 15 people on here right now. And I have 20,000 followers over on at Living Low Carb Man, and I'm begging for like 6 or 8 people when I do a Jimmy rant. So they were shadow banning me when I was doing these. So it's kind of cool to see that this brand new entity right here, I'm already getting almost double what I usually get over on the other. So that's interesting. So we're going to call it the V word, but you know what I'm talking about. And Pfizer is the pharmaceutical company that was the first one to step up to the plate. Really strange timing for when they announced it. It was the day after the election. They come out and they put out this big press release, and it gets all over the news media, that they have a COVID-19, and I know you're not supposed to say that, but the virus vaccine available. You're not supposed to say that word either. The virus V word, the VV in the BB with the wawa, the caca. Yeah, the virus V word is now coming. And a big splash in the media, 90% efficacy. And I don't know about you guys, but when I first heard the 90% efficacy, I was like, it's a 99% recovery rate. What do you mean 90% efficacy? Like, it's worse than your body does? Like, that was weird to me. And so I was like, okay, I want to kind of get what this 90% means. So I've got a lot of stories and a lot of quotes from different doctors. There was a story that just came out today that kind of gives an updated number, and it's not just 90% anymore. According to today, they're up to 95% efficacy. Now, I know Moderna is another one that came out, and they had a 95% efficacy. I'm not talking about Moderna today. Pfizer had some tricky things they did with the data to make it look like it was something it was not. Holly says, I can't get to your Instagram live. Make sure you're following me on the new one, not at Living Low Carb Man. I'm not live there. I'm on at Jimmy Rants. So if you're trying to watch this live over on Instagram, you need to go follow my brand new one on Instagram at Jimmy Rants. And yeah, Judy, they're claiming a 95% rate. They sure are. And so this just came off the presses this morning. This is out of Reuters. Pfizer announced on Wednesday, that's today, that final results from the late-stage trial of its COVID-19 vaccine shows that it has a 95% effective rate, adding it had the required 2 months of safety data and would apply immediately for emergency U.S. authorization. So when they had it available, the FDA grants that approval for emergency use. And then if they grant that approval, then they can start shipping it right away and get it out to people in various states. The drug maker said efficacy of the vaccine developed with German partner BioNTech was consistent across age and ethnicity demographics, and that there were no major side effects, a sign that the immunization could be employed broadly around the world. Efficacy in adults over 65 who are at particular risk from the virus was over 94%. So if you read this news story, you're going to think that this vaccine, which is the fastest vaccine in the history of mankind, I want you to keep that in mind. The average time to generally make a vaccine is 7 years. Average time. The fastest one that's ever been made was 18 months. Dr. Fauci actually said this in some testimony earlier in the year with the swine flu. They created a vaccine in 18 months, but by the time the vaccine came out, the swine flu had already gone away. It just went away on its own. Herd immunity or whatever happened. And so it's interesting that they're throwing all these numbers out there. And the final analysis is 1 week after they showed the vaccine had more than a 90% efficacy. Moderna on Monday released their preliminary data showing similar effectiveness. And so they're making a big deal about this vaccine. And of course, the average public out there, okay, I guess we're waiting on the vaccine, because they've been told, we're waiting on the vaccine. We're waiting on the vaccine. We can get back to normal life if we wait on the vaccine. We've been hearing that all year long. Now, the interesting thing to me and all of us in the alternative health community is we don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. We know that they have fudged so much data. And I think about, like when I was writing the book Cholesterol Clarity, that book right there. When I was writing Cholesterol Clarity, I was looking into how they fudged so much data as it related to cholesterol lowering effects of statin medications. And they would brag on TV commercials about, Lipitor will lower your cholesterol by 40%. And of course, people hear 40%, they think, oh my gosh, that's a huge, huge drop in your cholesterol, 40%. What they're not telling you is it's not a 40% drop. It's a 40% relative drop. The actual drop, you want to know what the actual drop was? 1%. But because it went from it was like a 6 or 7% down to 1 down, or 1 or 2 down, they said, oh, a 40% drop. It wasn't that big of a deal. And it's like they made a big deal using statistical shenanigans. And this is exactly what they've done with the Pfizer V word, is they have moved things around, and they're using, and you're going to be shocked here in a minute at the number of people that they used in this study and the number of people that had available to them to use, but the number that they actually used, it's going to shock you. And I'm going to get to that here in just a minute. A lot of you already know this, but I'm going to elucidate this, but it's shocking. And see, we're very skeptical of pharmaceutical companies because they pull this joke all the time. And so all of us already have kind of a, little side eye at pharmaceutical companies. We don't really trust them with our health because we know how they've lied to us about, oh, take this cholesterol lowering statin medication and it'll make you heart healthier. But it didn't, and it doesn't. And the same with this. They're already talking about, oh yeah, you're going to take the vaccine, but you still got to wear a mask and socially distance for the indeterminate future. They just said that over the weekend. Oh yeah, even when the vaccine comes, you're still going to have to wear a mask. You're still going to have to socially distance. You're still going to have to stay at home as much as possible. And I'm thinking, I thought it was supposed to be the answer, right? And something in these trials, and I think one of the experts in one of these stories said this, all the trials are done in a world where people are masking up, where people are socially distancing, where people are doing all these things that are not in normal circumstances. And so keep that in mind as well. Like, if the whole point is take the vaccine in order for us to get to some sense of normality again, that's what people think. People think that, oh, well, we get the vaccine, everything's going to return to normal life again. And if that's you, if you believe that, can I just tell you, it's not going to ever be normal again until we butt back against all the things that they're trying to force on us, including masks, which I've talked extensively about on this show, but including this vaccine. They're going to push this vaccine so hard on so many people. And again, those of us in the alternative health space, we're already very skeptical of pharmaceutical companies as it is. But you've got a lot of family members, you know them, mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, cousin, sister, somebody in your life is going to buy into, oh my God, I need that vaccine. That's the only way I can get healthy. Never mind, immune system does its job, T cells does its job, make yourself healthier, make your host healthy, the whole terrain theory versus germ theory. You got to kind of start teaching these things, if you haven't already, to those people around you so they don't get suckered into taking and getting stuck with this needle. And you're going to hear multiple needles with this Pfizer vaccine. But another, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the new Pfizer vaccine. And yes, I am back for one day. I have this brand new channel over here on Instagram. It's this is the debut episode on @Jimmy Rants. I've been wanting to do the Jimmy Rants as its own entity for a little while. So I decided, you know what, let's test market it right now. Let's see, and I've got a hot topic I want to talk about. So let's see how that goes here today on the new Instagram channel. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I'm almost at 300 followers already, and I created it less than 24 hours ago. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Got a ton of people watching live. So that's telling me my other channel was getting way shadow banned. If there's this many people with 300 followers, and I have 20,000 followers on that one, and I had just a fraction of what I see here right now. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you for the simulcast over on YouTube and Facebook. But let's get back to this topic, because Pfizer was the first one to kind of release statistics, and just today they're claiming 95% efficacy, and now they're petitioning the FDA for emergency use authorization, which means if approved by the FDA, it's going to be going out, and we've got a list of states they're going to test market it here somewhere. Yeah, there's several states they're going to test it in. We'll get to that story here in a minute, but let's get this. Listen to this headline. We may have to accept a good enough C word vaccine, at least in 2021. So the virus V word, see, it's hard for me to say this without saying the words, but the virus V word, we're just accepting a good enough one. Is anybody okay with that? Like, I'm not. Australian Health Minister Greg Hunt said recently that the government is on track to deliver their virus C word or V word starting in March 2021. Moderna announced its V word has 95%. It's on the heels of Pfizer. And then the Russian Sputnik V V word has a 92%. So they're going to see more preliminary results. I know AstraZeneca is on deck to be the next one. And let's not forget, it's only been about 2-3 months ago that we heard all of these trials had some kind of adverse reaction, right? So I guess that got swept under the rug. While an effective V word will provide the best chance of controlling the disease, no. The best chance of controlling the disease is letting your immune system do its job. Can we get that straight? The best chance of controlling the disease is not a V word. It's your immune system. It's your T cells. It's your, basically your body's immune system kicking in. Let's stop with the whole nonsense of the V word is the only answer to this thing that we're dealing with. And yes, I'm being deliberate in not saying those words too much because they do listen. They do shadow ban. I don't want that to happen. So no V word will be perfect, nor will it end the pandemic instantly. But yet they've been telling us. They've been like marching us, a slow death march, I've been calling it all year. They've been slow death marching us to the V word and making it seem like, well, if we just get to the V word and everybody complies and takes the V word of the fastest V word ever created and brought to humans, the fastest one in all of human history, and we're supposed to just trust it, that nothing's going to go wrong. Is anybody okay with that? Is anybody gung-ho about taking this V word? I don't know about you, but hails to the nah, right? Let somebody else be the guinea pig. It ain't going to be Jimmy Moore. And I have a feeling that's a lot of you guys as well. The first V words are also likely to have significant limitations. Oh, you think? See, that's what happened in these trials. A couple of them in the phase 2 trials, they got adverse reactions because they had to give them a higher dose in order for it to work. And so, yeah, it's not what they're claiming it to be. And so this new version, that's probably a lighter version, it may have limitations, as they're even admitting in this story. And so if it has limitations, why even like put yourself through that if it's not going to work? So the issue is how good a V word is good enough. I'm sorry, guys. If they're going to create a V word, pretending like it's going to be the answer to ending this so-called pandemic, don't you want it to end the pandemic? Otherwise, what's the point? What is the point of getting millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans to get this needle jabbed into their arm multiple times, because it's going to take several doses for it to do what it's got to do? What's the point of going through all that histrionics if at the end of it, we still haven't ended the pandemic? What's the point? Isn't the point that we all have this exposure to this so that then the immune system has antibodies able to create enough herd immunity so this can end? And if that's not the end goal, why are we going to go through this? Oh, gee, I don't know. I can think of several $1 billion worth of reasons. Is anybody else as jaded as me? Like I haven't done a Jimmy rants in a while, and so I'm on fire, guys. I'm just like, ugh, like this irks me to no end, because they're even admitting, oh, it'll be good enough. Good enough for what? We also need to think about what imperfections we as individuals, regulators, and governments will be prepared to accept. Oh, imperfections? You know what that is? That is nothing more than we know this is going to have adverse effects, and we just have to be ready for them. Guys, I don't know about you, but I'm going to take my chances on this vessel that I have created through good nutrition, through lifestyle choices, through supplementation, through all the things that I do to make this vessel as healthy and strong and immune as possible. I'm not trusting some rushed V word that has God knows what in it to try to save me from something that has a 99.999% recovery rate for people under the age of 50. Is anybody else as frustrated about all this? It's disgusting. So how safe is safe enough? Safety is obviously the major concern with a V word. They are designed to be given to very large numbers of healthy people. Okay, healthy people, but how do you define healthy people? I think what they mean is don't have the V word yet, the virus yet. And so if you don't have the virus, they deem you healthy. But are you healthy? We already know that upwards of almost 90% of the population has some level of insulin resistance. And with insulin resistance comes comorbidities, and those comorbidities are the things that make the virus worse. So that then if you give them the V word and they get an adverse reaction because of the comorbidities from their insulin resistant, you see where I'm going here? Very large numbers of healthy people? No. Maybe very large numbers of people that don't yet have it, but that doesn't mean they're healthy. This means even an extremely rare, serious adverse event, when applied to a population of millions, can produce major harm. Oh, you think? Don't think that those people that had adverse reactions in phase 2 and 3 of these trials of these V words, don't think that won't happen on a grand scale. And in fact, I've got another one here directly from the Journal of the American Medical Association. Let me jump to that one real quick, where they have a plan in place already about how to deal with people that get adverse reactions to getting the V word. So here it is. Given the large number of vaccine candidates, adverse events of special interest will be classified, broken down between various specific names, population specific, like older adults, children, pregnant women. A list of priorities will be assessed. We'll have endpoints on the efficacy and guidance on safety endpoints. they give that we need to have a population size of approximately 3,000 individuals in order to assess the safety of the V word. And guess what? 3,000 is what the JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association, is saying, and that the FDA is saying. You're going to be shocked at the number of people in this Pfizer study. It ain't close to 3,000. You're going to get that in a minute. But a coordinated approach and harmonized endpoint to make sure it's taken care of. If you have people that start to develop symptoms, we've got measures in place to track them, to figure out what happened, to document. Guys, this is a ticking time bomb. Phase 3 trials is just like saying, okay, let's rush through that so we can get to the real trial. And the real trial are the suckers, I mean people, that will be given this V word first. And guess who the very, very first people are that's going to get this thing? Medical frontline workers. Medical frontline workers. What happens if a huge number of our medical frontline workers get an adverse reaction to this V word? You're going to put them in great harm, and they're the ones trying to help people right now. Now, I get it. They're around people in the virus units in their hospital, and they have to protect them and da-da-da, and PPE does its job, but it's just another added layer of protection. That's how they're selling it. But it's scary. And then the next population they want to put it on is minorities. And if you're a minority, and I think I've got another news story. Oh, I skipped it. But there was another news story I read where 60% of Black Americans said, I ain't taking that vaccine because there's history there. Look up the Tuskegee experiment, and you'll see where they had a vaccine available for those people to be able to be healed from, I think it was the measles or it was something like that. But they didn't give it to them. They let them be the guinea pigs of basically be the control group. And a bunch of them died. And they did this experiment for 40 years. Now, those families ended up getting a crap load of money from those companies. But that's what, yeah, I said the full V word, I sure did. Ben. That's why there's such skepticism, and rightfully so. But not just minority communities where they've been hit the hardest, one of the hardest groups, but older people. And I did a Jimmy Rants a couple of months ago talking about how they didn't really diversify the number of people that they're looking at when they're doing the study. Now, I know in that news story, that Reuters story that I read at the beginning, oh, well, we've tested all groups, and even the over 65 was a 94% efficacy, and isn't it great, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Wait till you hear the actual number. I'm going to get to it here in a minute, but it is shocking that this is being allowed to be put out there and heralded as if it's like this great truth that this is the answer to the virus. Well, let's get back to the story. Short-term trials on small population samples relative to the numbers expected to receive the V word may also not be able to pick up relatively rare but important risks. And that's why it's so important in these trials, these phase 3 trials, that they try to get a diverse group of people. Because if all you do is a certain age range, a certain level of health, a certain this, a certain that, and that's all you do, are you getting a nice cross profile of the entire American population? And again, when you see how many people were used to determine that 90%, it's going to make you lose your lunch. We're getting there. Hang with me. This is a problem we may not be able to avoid, talking about the side effects that some people will have. because the only way to find out is to give the vaccine to large numbers of people and then allow long periods of time to elapse for any long-term adverse events to become evident. This is why you don't rush a vaccine. This is why the average amount of time to test in a clinical trial a V word, this is why you need 7 years. You gotta see, okay, we give it to them now. What's gonna happen a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And if you do any kind of research online, you can see all kinds of effects that take place amongst children, especially with the V word for other things. They're real. I don't care if you think anti-V word, people are wacky if they're anti-V word, but it's a thing. Look it up. How do they explain those adverse reactions? Obviously, all therapeutic agents carry the possibility of adverse effects, and individual case decisions have to be made about whether the potential benefits justify taking the risk. And this is why I don't think it should be mandated on people, because if people have risks and have concerns over said risks, they take on that responsibility. And I think we should be able to sign a waiver. I don't know about you, but I would gladly sign a waiver that says, I, Jimmy Moore, do hereby give up my right to have a V word, and I will gladly let my immune system do its job. Because I ain't feared the virus since it came out. Maybe at the very beginning I did. At the very beginning when they were talking about millions of people dying and da-da-da, we didn't know anything about it. Okay, yeah, I did all the things. Now, I ain't scared of this thing one friggin' bit. I'm not. And I think people that are relatively healthy and eat well, take care of themselves, supplement well, do all the things, you don't need to worry about it either. Now, that's a choice you make, but you should be the one making it. This is why I hope to God that they don't even try to force this. I know Andrew Cuomo in New York, the governor of New York, he has said he's going to pretty much try to mandate it on every New Yorker. Yeah, good luck with that, Governor Cuomo, because you're going to have pushback. And what do? You're going to have police come into people's houses and jab them with the V word? Feels that way in some states. I'm glad I live in South Carolina, because we don't mess with people and they don't mess with us, and it's all happy, But see, different areas of the country, if you live in California, I feel for you right now. Or Michigan, that governor there is wackadoodle with all these restrictions that they're doing on people. A lot of strange stuff happening. It is arguable that the extreme dangers associated with the virus justify accepting a higher level of risk for the vaccine, the V word. I keep saying it, so I can't do it. However, while the U.S. and Australian regulatory authorities have broad guidelines related to the V word safety, neither has issued any guidelines regarding the level of risk considered justified for this V word, and there has only been limited public debate on the subject. So looking at how effective is good enough, the efficacy of the V word is uncertain. We don't know, because it hasn't gone through the proper channels in phase 3 of the trials. Remember, and I'm going to remind you of this, the average time it takes to develop a V word is 7 years. Usually phase 1 takes 6 to 12 months, phase 2 another 2 years, and phase 3 another 4 to 5 years after that. That's how these things are done. And they have rushed this thing in less than a year through all of those phases. And we're going to get to the numbers here in a minute, and I'm sorry for kind of teasing it for a while and not getting to it, but all of this kind of sets it up that they want to put this out there. Oh, it's good enough. I don't know about you, but if you go to a job and you kind of half-ass your way through your job, are you going to keep that job? No. But you'll tell your boss, but it was good enough. What's your boss going to tell you? I don't want good enough. I want your best. That's what I'm paying you for. Paying you for your best. And especially with a V word or a virus that has a 99+% survival rate. Why are we going through all of this song and dance about a V word, right? Ideally, a V word should prevent any person who receives it from catching the disease. Is that really the point? Isn't that the whole point, like why they have locked us down, why they have kept us socially distanced, why we wear a mask? The whole point is to run away from a virus. But you can't run away from a virus forever. But here's the thing, should prevent any person who receives it from catching the disease. Do we know what's in a V word? In the V word is the disease. Are they crazy? Now, yes, it's a light version of it so that the body can build up antibodies and have that available in case it hits. But let's not pretend like taking a V word is going to prevent the disease. How many people have gotten their flu shot and you got the flu, right? By the way, for the record, I've never, ever taken a flu shot. Not one time. I don't. Because the odds of you getting the flu, taking the flu shot are very high compared to doing all the things and making your immune system stronger. You don't get the flu. Or if you do, it's not as severe because your immune system is strong. I will hearken back to tell people how to make their immune system strong. And you don't need a V word. For example, they may slightly reduce the severity of the illness, or they may only benefit a small subset of the population. They're even admitting in this story that the V word may only benefit a small subset of the population. And yet we're going to give it to hundreds of millions of people? Carte blanche? The only good news is a lot of Americans are very skeptical of this, and they're not going to be lined up for it. The ones that have been sufficiently scared to death will take it. But those of us that are thinkers, those of us that are generally healthy, those of us that are skeptical of pharmaceutical companies because we've been in the alternative health space, we ain't getting anywhere near this V word. There ain't no way. And as someone who travels for a living and I speak around the world, I am quite concerned that if I don't take the V word, I may not get to travel. Because if they make you show, I know Ireland is talking about having a virus V word kind of passport. And if you don't have the passport that shows you got the V word, you're not going to be allowed in their country. I wonder if that hits them economically, if they'll change their mind. It's a weird time in our history because never in all of history have we shut down the world because of a coronavirus. We've had coronaviruses for years. Why is this one so special? And oh yeah, by the way they're testing for this specific one, it's not testing for the virus. It's not. It's testing for any coronavirus. And it's amplifying it. Remember, I did a Jimmy Rants on this. It's amplifying it 35 to 40 times what it actually is. So it might show you're positive. And we keep hearing about, oh, new cases are on the rise. Yeah, no kidding. If you get tested, you're going to get cases. That's how this works. But death rate continues to fall. And if death rate's falling but cases are high, that means we're getting closer to herd immunity. Why do we need a V word again? Are you seeing where we're going here? No current trials are looking at purely whether the V word will reduce your chance of dying from the virus of individuals in specific risk groups. No, they're not looking at that because that's not the point. The point is these pharmaceutical companies are looking to make a lot of money. And they're going to make billions upon billions of dollars if people are suckered into taking this thing. And if you're suckered into taking it and you don't really need it, what is that going to do to your body? Why don't we talk about that? To me, the risk of taking the V word versus not taking it and taking my chances and doing all the things to make my vessel stronger, I'd rather do the latter rather than the former. In fact, different clinical trials have different efficacy endpoints, including effects on susceptibility to infection, severity of disease, time to recover, and mortality, and in different age and population groups. There's no guarantee vaccines under development will provide significant protection for those most in need, such as older groups and those with existing medical conditions. Isn't that the people we've told to stay isolated all year, and yet those are the very people that a V word won't work for? I think Sweden had a great model. They never shut down. Not once did they shut down. And they allowed their healthy population to get out there and create herd immunity. And so if herd immunity happens, then they get enough immunity collectively that those most at risk, staying isolated, don't get harmed by this, because the V word, the virus, goes away, and so those people won't need the V word. Not all trials are specifically recruiting those kind of participants, talking about the older and the sick ones. And there is a real possibility benefits will not ever be extended to them. In other words, a clinical trial might show efficacy in a formal sense, but might not solve the key problems we're facing in the real world. And the key problem is the sick people are dying. One study earlier in the year showed that the people who are dying, average age well over 75, at least 3 comorbidities, those are the people dying. People who are younger, and definitely people under the age of 50, 99.9997% recovery. And yet they don't want to focus on that. They just want to do this slow death march to the V word. Earlier this year, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, said it would only consider approving a V word that, quote, prevents disease or decreases severity in at least 50% of the people who get the V word. 50%. Now that's pretty normal, by the way. Last year's V word for the seasonal flu, they had an efficacy of 30%, and they said that was good. So they wouldn't accept one for the virus, the new virus, unless it had at least a 50%. And yet they're claiming 90%. We're going to find out that that's a fudged number here in a second. Australia's equivalent, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, has not had any precise guidance on this. So the problem with the Pfizer V word, by the way, is it needs to be transported and stored, listen to this, at negative 70 degrees Celsius. Like, that's not just on dry ice. Negative 70 degrees Celsius. That's talking about liquid, what's that stuff? Like Freon, and keeping it like covered and inside of insulated thing. Like, negative 70 degrees Celsius is cold as all get out. Moderna, the reason theirs is being a little more celebrated is it can be kept in a refrigerator or freezer, a conventional refrigerator or freezer. But this one from Pfizer, negative 70 degrees Celsius. So it's limited in its utility in low and middle income countries, limited health infrastructure, and rural and remote communities in the world, meaning other V words will have to be found for those populations. The role of minorities in relation to clinical studies of therapeutic products in the U.S. is uneven in terms of the participation, exposure risk, and access to benefits. That's the other thing I talked about in a previous Jimmy Rants, is the very people that need this the most, minority, older population, they're not really being tested. And kids, like, they're not being tested at all. There's a serious chance that in the search for a V word, those least likely ultimately to receive the final product will be the ones who have the greatest risk. This creates a possibility the social divisions already exposed by the virus will be exacerbated. Further, while there's been widespread acknowledgement of the need for access and supply of these V words to poorer nations, there's no legal structure to ensure it or guarantee it's going to happen. So a number of V words are likely becoming available throughout next year, 2021, that offer either limited protection from infection or lower the risk of severe disease. Think about what they've told us this year, too. If you've already been exposed to the virus, they say the immunity will not last forever. What happens when you get immunity through the V word? Is that too not going to last forever? I remember Dr. Fauci and that propaganda thing they did in the schools. I posted it on my Instagram, IGTV, a couple months ago, where he did a little back to school thing about talking about the V word. And he said, oh yeah, you're going to need regular booster shots of the V word. So you get the V word, and then you get a second V word a couple weeks later, and then you're supposedly immune for what? 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then you go and get a booster shot, and another, and another. How is this different than going on some kind of a medication which the doctor says you're going to take it for the rest of your life? Are we going to take virus, V words, booster shots for the rest of our lives over this one singular coronavirus? Are we? Certainly looks that way. These benefits may not necessarily be for those most at risk, though. Robust regulatory systems and independent scrutiny of clinical trial results mean that these virus V words will likely be safe in the short term. However, nobody knows what the long-term risks and distribution may be like for economic and cultural reasons. Even if we develop a good enough vaccine, no guarantees are in place, although many will be prepared to chance the first V words, many others will refuse them. Yeah, you think? A lot of us are going to refuse it, despite government attempts at persuasion, which I did a whole Jimmy Rants about 4 or 5 months ago, where they're doing a study, or they did a study, on what messaging would be best to convince you to take a V word. Remember that one? So I did that one many months ago. I assume the study is done or almost done, and they're trying their darndest to get people to take this V word. So, listen to this. Herd immunity via the V word, which for the coronavirus requires effective immunization of at least 2/3 of the population, is going to be a long way away. So that's the thing. What happens if the first wave, they get 33% of the population take the V word? They need double that to try to get anywhere close to herd immunity. Of course, I wonder if they're also taking into account people that have already had it. But see, even some people may have had it and didn't know they had it. Some people may have had it, their T cell production took care of it, they never got antibodies, but they got immunity to it because their T cells took care of it. How are they going to determine all this? Strategies to reduce the spread, like physical distancing, face mask, and hand hygiene, rigorous quarantines, will be with us for the indefinite future. And that's the thing, guys. They're talking about, oh, just take the V word and your life will go back to normal again. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. This is not going to end well. And don't fall for it. Don't fall for, well, if you just take the V word, we can all get back to our normal lives. It ain't going to happen. Nope. All right, so let's get into, because the actual numbers that they looked at is shocking. So the drug maker Pfizer, they had 44,000 people in 6 different countries who were in the study. Okay, half of them got the V word, while the other half got a placebo. So the data, listen to this, remember 44,000 people. The data that they got that 90% number from was from 94 participants. 94 out of 44,000. Do you want to know what percentage 94 is of 44,000? 0.002% of the study. Statistically, zero. 94. If they did 9,400, that would be 2%. 9,400. But they did 94. Are you feeling as good about that 90% as you did when you first heard about it? I'm sure not. Fewer than 9 of them who got the disease had been given the vaccine. Fewer than 9. Statistically, nothing. And yet we're supposed to believe that this gives us great hope that when they administer this to millions upon tens of millions upon eventually hundreds of millions of Americans, that we're supposed to be okay with this when they've only tested it in a percent of the study population? To confirm the efficacy rate, Pfizer said it would continue the trial until there were 164 virus cases amongst the volunteers, a number that the FDA has agreed is enough to tell us how well the vaccine is working. Remember, I did Jimmy Rants on this a few months ago. They're even fudging these cases. They were having trouble getting to that 164. If those of you that watch Jimmy Rants often, you'll know that when I read about that and they were talking about 164, they had to start saying, well, they kind of had a sniffle, so we're going to count that. We're going to count that as a case, and we're going to give them the ability. My iPad over here on Facebook is about to die, so I'm going to plug it in. Hang with me just a second, guys. But they wanted to count that as a case. Oh, they had a little sniffle. Well, that's not really helping anybody. And so this is shocking. Are you shocked? 94 out of 44,000? And only 9 of them got the disease that were given the V word? The data, however, has yet to be peer-reviewed or published in a medical journal. I'm looking forward to the published data on this. Pfizer said it would do so once it has the results from the entire trial. And that's the thing. They're running their mouth about this long before they have the full results. It's not done. Not even close to being done. Outside experts said key details of the data need to be analyzed and cautioned that many questions remain, including whether the V word can prevent a severe disease or complication, how long it will protect against infection, how well it will work in the elderly. They're not answering those questions. Let's see here. So they are applying for the emergency approval, They're trying to produce up to 50 million doses, which is 25 million people, because remember, it's 2 doses to get it done. They got a $2 billion contract with the U.S. government to deliver 100 million vaccine doses beginning at the beginning of the year. And they've got supply agreements as well with the European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Japan. I've got a few more things here. I definitely want to see what you guys have to say. Here's some people that are skeptical. It's encouraging. If a V word is to reduce severe disease and death and thus enable the population at large to return to their normal day-to-day lives, it will need to be effective in older and elderly members of our society, says Eleanor Riley, a professor of immunology and infectious disease at Edinburgh University. The problem is they're not testing that population. And so that population isn't getting really good. They're not being served well here. And what happens, guys, if the V word is distributed and all these scared older people start taking it and we get a bunch of adverse reactions? Remember, too, these pharmaceutical companies are being immune from being any litigation against them. Oh, if people get sick and have adverse reactions, you can't sue us. So what happens to those people They get sick. They're going to die. What happens? Can you imagine the public backlash if a bunch of grandmas and grandpas get killed because they took the V word thinking it was going to save them? The very thing that was supposed to save them from this big bad virus actually killed them? This ain't going to end well. Like, I'm hoping that this is on your radar screen enough that you're seeing the problem with this. Bottom line is we're going to have to use the data we have and the high efficacy to give us confidence that we're going to prevent having a serious, severe infection. And there is concern about that, whether the V word is going to prevent serious infection or cause it. And that's a problem. Ideally, we would want to be able to completely protect people from infection, but I think we all accept these so-called first-generation vaccines are more likely to prevent disease, and the subtlety there, which is important, is if you're infected, then you can still transmit the virus. So they're not real confident there in that article. Let's see, what did I have in this one? So our main goal, according to Dr. Amesh Alaja, a senior scholar at Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, is that the prevention level of the vaccine has come in much higher than vaccine experts anticipated. Most of us in the field didn't expect these to have the 90% efficacy. We were thinking maybe 50 to 60%, so it's surprising. Well, I'm thinking they fudged the numbers because they kept the numbers low. Remember, 0.002%, right? So they're not giving you great numbers here. We don't know anything about the efficacy of the vaccine against mutated virus. This is so important, guys. Listen to this. Mutations could influence the efficacy. This is important. These vaccines allow your body to see just one piece of the virus. But what happens when the protein of the virus mutates and changes into something far different than what the original vaccine was intended for? Pfizer's V word, along with many of the leading candidates, has been created with this thing called messenger RNA, and they've described this as a novel technology that could transform the vaccination world. It's supposed to change with the changes of the proteins, but they don't know. It's never been done before. Moderna has the same kind of technology on the mRNA, and so they don't know. Like, we're going to be literally, people taking this are literally going to be guinea pigs of something that's never been done in all of human history. By the end of the year, healthcare workers may have access to this vaccine under an emergency use. This program is something that's very likely to go all throughout 2021 into the general populations. You don't know what you don't know. Maybe 100,000 people have ever gotten a vaccine like this. We don't know what the story will be until it's out there. Are you willing to be an unwilling guinea pig in a clinical trial in real time, in real life? Because that's what's about to happen. Let's see here. So there's concerns by other doctors here that the sample size is low, still very small. It does automatically lend a lot of excitement because of the 90% number, but can you get excited until you get to tens of thousands of people, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000? And that's so true. Like, we can't get real excited until we get that many people, have it be a broad population of people across all the demographics, and even to your child, and know that it's safe. We're still early days, and we don't have any information about what the Pfizer V word is going to be about. So listen up. If you're in one of these 4 states, this is where the Pfizer V word is going to be distributed first. Texas, Rhode Island, Tennessee, and New Mexico. They are part of a pilot program to get the virus V word out to basically, the reason they chose these states, their size, their diversity of population, and the immunization infrastructure. they were included in this program will not receive them earlier than other states, nor will they receive any differential consideration. They're just basically saying we're going to test the distribution, and they'll be in those states first, but they're not going to get access to it earlier than everybody else. They're just trying to see, can we send it to those 4 states, and how quickly can we do that? Okay. So, man, what do you think about this? Like, we got a lot of interesting considerations here. And if we don't think about all of these considerations before grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, sister, cousin, friend, coworkers, they need to know this information I shared here today. Because 90% efficacy, and the new number in the story they had today, 95% efficacy, sounds like a big number. But then when you see they had 44,000 people in the study pool, but they only had 94 of those people actually be studied to get that 90% rate, it's not near as impressive, is it? No. No. And I'm concerned people are going to be fooled by the math. And don't let them get fooled. Help them out. Share this Jimmy Rants with them and tell them the truth. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. We're going to come here first to Instagram. It does look like we're still live over at the Jimmy Rants Instagram page. Thank you guys for being here. Facebook and YouTube, I'll get to you guys next. JimmyRants.com is the website. And yes, if you came in late, I am here today only. This is a test of my brand new Jimmy Rants Instagram page. It does let me, looks like it does let me go over an hour of talking. I wasn't sure if it was going to do that. So that's good to know. I'm glad we were able to do this. And plus, somebody had to talk about the V word because this is disgusting what's happening right now. But let's see what you guys have to say. Thank you for the book. Yeah, a lot of you guys have reported I sent out books before I left. And so congratulations to everybody that had a book that you won. I'm glad you got them. Leland says Fauci needs to be fired. He screwed up the HIV issue and is poised to make millions off of this V word. Yes, he sure is. Temple says lots of fudging of the data going on. It is. And for the purposes of trying to push this V word on people. You fudge data, you can fool people into doing things that they would otherwise not do. Anna says it does make you leery about this V word. I know a lot of delay with V words have to be due with FDA and pharmaceutical companies. Yes. Anna says, yeah, that's my word for all this too. It's shenanigans. Yes. Leland says, I trust nobody at Big Pharma. Yeah, you're not the only one. It's about control. Well, that we could have that discussion another day, but certainly that is something people are saying. Denmark did a study on masks and proved they do not protect against the virus. Anna says, no V word for me, thank you very much. I'm 63 and haven't had a V word since I was 8. Yes. Interesting insight I got from Dr. Peter Attia podcast with Paul Offit. Says, Kat, listening and reading everything, it's also messy right now. And I think it's messy by design. I think they wanted it messy so that people stayed confused. And in a state of confusion, people seek clarity and seek things to be normalized. And so if you keep people confused and in disarray, and then you're like, well, if we take the V word, all of the things will go away and go back to normal, and people go, oh, okay. So I think it's a little bit of a psyop, if I'm being honest, Kat. Having people go through all of this confusion with everything so that they get fooled into taking something that they don't really need. CA82164 says, I'm worried my hospital is going to make us get it. Several nurses, myself included, plan on quitting. And that's sad. I've heard this, by the way. A lot of your colleagues are thinking about quitting. Like, you guys have been the ones on the front lines of this whole craziness all year long. Whether you actually had virus patients or not, you were impacted by this because of everything that happened. And so that's a shame if they force it on all of you guys. And you should have the option of opting out of it. You take on the risk. And of course, you've been exposed to patients with coronaviruses before. What makes this one any different than the flu, than the common cold, than all the other coronaviruses that have been out there forever and ever, amen? What makes this one so different? I could tell you some stories of what really happens with patients. I bet you could. Anna says, build up your immune system, change your diet. I cured over 8 autoimmune disorders, had the virus in early March. Had I not changed, I probably would have died. Yeah, that many comorbidities, you probably would have. Joshua says, it's more than a virus. That was clear after the first month. Well, it's becoming clearer now to a lot more people, thank God. For some reason, I trust my body way more than any V word. I've done my research as a medical doctor, mother, and a responsible citizen. Well, Kat, that's because you've done your homework. Not everybody has. A lot of people are just so trusting. That's why we've gotten into the mess with people's diets being messed up. They've been trusting. And it's why people obediently take pharmaceutical drugs for every ailment. They're trusting. And now they're watching all this unfold with all the fear about this virus. And they're trusting, oh, well, the V word's going to be the answer. And they don't know any better. We had more restrictions set out last night. 5 people per household, says Joshua. He lives in Canada. So, yeah, they keep trying to use this for their own purposes. I think, yeah, we're well beyond the virus. And we're into, let's use that as a crisis to get people to do what we want them to do. I don't want to be that jaded, but it's hard not to see that. I keep forgetting my mask in my car and get all the way to the grocery store. I just use my sleeve over my face, shop a bit, and leave. Not a single person has ever had an issue. Yeah, we have signs all over the front windows of all the places around here. I don't wear a mask in there anywhere. Nobody ever says anything, although I'm 6'3" and a big boy, so maybe they're intimidated. Let's don't talk to the big guy. He might smash our face in. But I went into Costco the other day, and I know in Costco they have a policy across all of their stores that you have to wear a mask. And so what I do is I put it on just over the mouth, and I leave my nose open. And when I tried to do that the other day, they're like, sir, you got to put it up over your nose. And I just kindly said, you know, I can't really breathe very well if I put it over my nose. They said, oh, we got you covered. And they pull out one of those really nice little shields. And they had bought those to give out to customers like me who didn't want to wear a mask. And so I put that on and I breathed freely. It was actually really cool. I could get in. Now, it's not going to protect me. If there's particles in the air, it would go behind that thing. I didn't have to wear a mask underneath it. But I thought that was nice of them. I guess they were losing customers, and they're like, well, we can buy these little shields. And then I got to keep the shield. So I'll wear that if I go into a store that requires wearing something. I have that in my backseat of my car now. So that was really cool. We're no longer complying as a family. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I think they're fed up, and especially the ones like, you're not allowed to have a normal Thanksgiving, as Anita said. The numbers here in Canada are climbing. We never had. Oh, that's right. You guys had your Thanksgiving last month. Kat says, I know one healthy man has been in the ICU fighting the virus, very unstable, labeled healthy, but chronically high alcohol consumption was disclosed. Healthy? Really? Yeah. Yeah, their definition of healthy is certainly not what you and I would think of as healthy. In this case, healthy means you don't have exposure to the virus. That's pretty much it. This will end when we all stop listening. Well, when we all stop complying and obeying every little mandate. Like, what would they do suddenly if everybody took off their mask? What would they do? What would they do if all these limitations, would they arrest everybody? I don't know. Lots of false positives. That's right. There are lots of false positives. Ben says, thank you for speaking truth. Not sure if you mentioned it already, but there's items in some of these V words that alter your DNA. Yeah, I have talked about it on previous Jimmy Rants episodes where, yeah, the Moderna vaccine was the one that was the scariest. And those videos are on my Living Low Carb Man page. You can go back to my IGTV. I think I also put it up over on YouTube if you want to look up about the Moderna V word. Yeah, there's all kind of stuff that they're putting in there besides the V word. And that's a concern as well that you should be completely aware about. It scares me as a parent. My sons work on the front line and don't want it. Not sure how this will play out. Yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be major pushback from a lot in the medical profession. Girl Cooks Primal, I think the mass adverse reactions must come to fruition. The sheeple will not be woken up without seeing the reaction experienced by others that they respect. Yeah, and it's a shame. But see, I think that same logic could be applied to those of us that don't want to wear a mask and those of us that want to get back out there and live our lives. Let us be the guinea pigs that shows, hey, look, nothing bad's going to happen. And if I happen to get the virus, I'm going to let my body take care of it. And I know a few people in the keto world have posted about getting the virus, and some of them did okay, and others had, issues while they were quarantined. They had different things, lost the taste and all that. But they survived. Like, I don't know anybody that's died of it personally. And nobody personally in my life that I know, family, people that I know in real life, nobody that I know has gotten this thing. Not even gotten it, at least that we know of. It's only been people that I've seen online talk about it. My body, my choice, no V word for me. Even using hand sanitizers and soap washing too often removes microbes and oils our body needs for defense. Yeah, and I've been talking about that. All these parents that are obsessively putting the Purell on their kids, I'm like, have them go play in the dirt. That's probably the best thing you can have them do. Yellow-eyed one says, I'm a New Yorker and I'll be ducking the V word. That this is too scary. It's real though. It's real. Nate says, microchips are coming, won't be able to buy or sell anything without it. Well, that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day, but that is certainly a concern that's been put out there for sure. Ray says, nanoparticle technology incorporated into it. Now that's scary. Human tracing or tracking on steroids, matrix stuff. Yeah, that's the Moderna vaccine that I was talking about that I posted a video about. Dr. Carrie something. So look it up over on my YouTube channel or over on my Living Low Carb Man on my IGTV. Definitely interesting and scary stuff. Dawn says, strange, every time I try to listen, it keeps stopping. Well, I'm sorry about that. It looks like a lot of you stayed on, so it looks like it's still doing good. Kelly says, if I trusted the government with my health, I would still be on a low-fat diet with my diabetes. Yeah, that's true. I think we're over that, aren't we? CM Johnson, it is ridiculous that they choose to use a shield when the CDC says they're ineffective. Well, as long as it lets me shop, that's all I had to do. I was good with that. Yeah, I was really good with that. All right, thank you, Instagram. Lots and lots and lots of, oh, one more came in. Southern Clean Living. I went to Universal Orlando this weekend. They made us wear a mask the entire time, even made me pull it over my nose. It was so horrible. They also make you use hand sanitizer before every ride. Yeah, I've seen people at Disney World the same way, and I don't know, and they were there during the summer, so I don't know, it's hot enough and hard to breathe enough uh, without a mask on when it's like 90 something degrees in South Florida, but I'm not surprised they do all that. They're scared to death that an outbreak happens at their park and then they have to shut down because of that. Kat says the reason why I do online schooling with kids, I would hate for them to be in masks all day, soak their hands in chemicals at school, and God knows what they can breathe into. Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, thank you, Instagram. Let me pop over here now to my Facebook page. Thank you guys for being patient. Looks like we're going super long on the Instagram, so I'm glad that Instagram is letting this brand new account go long. But what's up, guys? Let's see what you guys have to say. We'll be over there just a minute with you guys, YouTube. See what you got here. I think both Pfizer and Moderna might have used relative numbers, probably the same as what the statin dudes do. Yeah, that's what I said during my rant. Let's see here. No, thank you. This family will not be taking the V word, says Sally. Good for you. Vicky says you can build up immunity to it on your own. Yep, you sure can. Oh, speaking of flu, somebody said, well, you know, this is kind of running the same kind of track as the flu. Did you know, and I don't know if I said this before I left, if I found out about this after, but did you know the CDC is not reporting flu numbers, seasonal flu numbers for 2020, 2021? They're just not going to report it at all. If you go to their website, what they show is last year's numbers. Isn't that curious? Like, they always show the in real time flu numbers, but not this year. Are they maybe trying to allocate some of the things that are flu into a second wave of the virus? Like, please be skeptical. Please think this stuff through. Nothing is happening by accident. All of this is purposeful. Marcella says, actually, the antibodies that offer immunity to the novel coronavirus is the T helper cell activation. Getting the seasonal common cold will actually give you more cell-mediated protection. Yeah, if you've had another coronavirus, I did Jimmy Rants on this before, you get some protection against the new one. Who knows what the long-term effects are? Yes, Sherry, exactly. That's the concerns is we don't know because they haven't done the proper, there's a reason the average length of time to create a V word is 7 years. There's a reason it's an average of 7 years. And we're doing this in less than a year. We don't know what the long-term effects are. You will be the clinical trial in real time. I've never taken a flu shot. My doctor pushes it every time because I'm diabetic. No, says Sally. Berkeley says, I agree. I'll never take it. I'll take my chances. Same with Sharon, 76 years young, not going to take it. Sweden also has a baked-in culture of hygiene and social distancing. They're very outdoorsy, non-couch potatoes. When one gets sick, the worst thing to do is lay up. Walking around and taking deep breaths avoid pneumonia and blood clots. That's good to know, Marcella. Nicole says the governor of California mandating all kinds of rules, then goes out to dinner with over 10 people with no masks. Another government group went off to Maui for the week to do, quote, work. Yeah, I'm seeing the hypocrisy everywhere, and it's disgusting. Berkeley says, my cardiologist said he was never required to report the flu, would be fired if he doesn't report the virus, though. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, thank you, Facebook. I'm going to move you guys over here, Instagram, so I can get over to my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for being patient. Let's see what you guys have to say. It's never a dull moment over on YouTube. Hello, hello. Agenda 21 includes 7.5 billion leaving the population. Yeah, we can can definitely talk about Agenda 21 some other time, but that's true. They can stick their vaccine up their poop hole, says Damien. Tell me how you really feel, Damien. Christy says it's ridiculous how censorship has promulgated. There are so many content creators I follow that can't use words like eating disorder, and their stuff is so choppy because of all the words they can't use. Yeah, it's hard, and I hate being told what to say and not say. Kim says they could offer me $1 million to take the V word and I would turn them down. You're not alone. Josie says me or my kids are not going to take this V word, although I heard that they're going to make citizens take it here in Finland, but it's not yet valid. Sorry for my English. No, your English was fine. I understood you. Selena says, I will be forced to take it. No option. I pray my ketogenic lifestyle for the past 5 years will protect me. I'm a healthcare worker. Well, Selena, that sucks that they're making you take it. The V word will be the newest thing used to divide us. I can already see the fear pushing now. I'll sign a waiver, but then they'll come at me about herd immunity not being a possibility. You're right. I think they've set it up so that it's kind of like the mask shaming. There will definitely be V word shaming if you don't take it. I'm going to apologize in advance to my Facebook page because I'm getting a warning that I'm really low on the battery, and I've got it plugged into a battery pack, so I don't know if it's charging or not. But anyway, if I lose you, you know what happened. I lost the battery. Let's go back to here. Don't trust the test either. False positive, says Kim. No data of the trials itself, just a press release, says Kobe. Exactly. Till I see the actual data, I'm not trusting anything they're saying about this. If you can get it more than one time, then why should they assume a V word would work? Exactly, Craig. I said as much. I have a friend that's a nurse, and she said the virus tests are only 60% accurate, says they get tons of false positives. I bet, Christy. I bet. Shirley says, I'm glad I'm in Georgia, but now I'm questioning my governor, who I trusted in the past. Hopefully he has enough sense to not mandate the V word. Yeah. Colby says, Fauci did a study in 2008 on the Spanish flu. Victims died mostly of bacterial pneumonia because of the widely mandated masks. The study was of examining the stored wax lung tissues, all bacteria. Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, YouTube. Let me see if there were final comments came in over here. Over on Instagram. Let me pick you up so I can get you back lined up again. Sketchy not reporting the flu. Yeah, I know, right, Anna? Joshua says the only number that really matters is all-cause mortality. Funny thing that 2020 is right on track for the exact same number of deaths as any other year. That's the thing. When they started labeling all of the people who had the virus when they died, they labeled it the virus killed them, but they died in a car accident, or they died of suicide, or they died of just old age. They died of some other comorbidity. But if they had the virus when they died, first cause of death is the virus because they got a crap load of money. So you're right. Death rate. I've been watching for that number all year. That's going to be interesting. If the actual number of deaths statistically is not that great, we all need to question whether it's valid or not. Are you going to Parler to avoid censorship? Well, I'm already on Parler, so if you're not following me there, I'm not doing very much with it, and obviously I'm away. This was a one-off here, doing this one here today, and I enjoyed doing this Jimmy Rants, by the way. But yes, I'm on Parler at Living Low Carb Man, so go follow me over there. When I get back, I will be pushing it harder because, yeah, we don't know what's happening with all the censorship on all of these platforms I'm going live on. So at any moment, they could just poof, take us away. I know Keto Savage had his go away and then came back. My friend Gormy in the keto community had his go away. He still doesn't have his back. So there's real stuff going on. And so, yeah. definitely I am on Parler, and we're looking at ways to do the Jimmy Rants show directly from jimmyrants.com coming up when I get back. So we'll be telling you more about that in due course. Are those suicide cases counted towards the virus deaths? They probably should. Well, they are counting them towards the virus deaths, but that's the problem. Like, they didn't die of those things, but they died of a consequence of those things. I want them to distinguish it. I want them to tell me how many people actually died of this thing, this virus, and then how many people died because of the things that were put into place to deal with the virus. The cure, the way to deal with it can't be worse than the thing itself, and that's the problem. Ray wants to know why they're censoring the keto community. Sweetie, we are alternative health nuts, and they have not liked that we don't toe the line that they want us to toe. I lost my Instagram page completely, the at Living Low Carb Man. I lost it completely 2 years ago. They just totally deleted it. I had 45,000 followers, and they just overnight, boom, and it's not coincidental either. They deleted it the day before I had a book come out. So when Real Food Keto was coming out, the day before, they totally deleted my Instagram page. And I never got an explanation, and I never got it back. I had to start all over again, and I'm finally back to 20,000, but that was 2 years ago. I'm still not back. So, and I don't expect this to slow down, by the way. They're coming after all of us alternative health people. They don't like that we help people get healthy. They want them to take a vaccine and to shut up and comply and wear a mask and all the things. That's not going anywhere. But I am going somewhere. I'm going back away again. I hope you enjoyed this little special surprise Jimmy Rants here today. And thank you so much for joining us here today. As always, go follow me. My brand new Instagram account is at Jimmy Rants. I still have at Living Low Carb Man. It's still there. I'm going to dedicate that one specifically to talking about diet and health and nutrition and all the things I've always talked about. This page here, I'm going to originate all my Jimmy Rants episodes from. I'm going to put inspirational type of posts here as well. I'm going to do lots of content here that's kind of off the beaten path of nutrition and health. I've listened to what people said all year long, stay in your lane with that one, so I'm cool with that. But I've got other lanes, and my lane is what's interesting to me, which is why I created Jimmy Rants. So if you want that kind of content, and obviously you guys here do because you follow, but tell people about this new Jimmy Rants Instagram page, and we will definitely provide a lot of content. I also posted an inspirational post today. If you've missed it here on the at Jimmy Rants on Instagram, go read it, because I like doing those kind of ones as well. I'm calling them Jimspiration. So go check those out. JimmyRants.com is where all the past episodes are. We also put the past episodes up over on YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I'm out of here. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back again in the new year. I'm not sure what's going to be going on in my life when I come back, because I still have a lot of the uncertainties that were there when I went away. They're not going away when the new year comes back. So I may be almost exclusively doing Jimmy Rants and social media and not my podcasts and other things when I come back. So that's still all up in the air right now, but I was really happy to get this Jimmy Rants in here today. I hope you enjoyed it, you guys. Love you so much. Thank you for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we will see you in 2021. Bye. All right. I can't believe my very first one, they let me go an hour and a half. Oh, sorry about that. Let me go an hour and a half on a brand new Instagram page. I didn't think they'd do that with a brand new account. Thank you for the surprise. It was great seeing you. Enjoy the rest of your time. Thank you, Tanja. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Good to see you, Lynn. Yeah, I went to Tennessee last week to see a friend of mine. He had a birthday, and we always play disc golf every year about this time of year. And so I was with him and his family for 5 days. tomorrow I'm going to see my web guy Hank in Mississippi, and then I will head down to Florida to visit with my mom and my sister, and I'll be with them through Thanksgiving and everything. So the one in Tennessee, that was the first trip I've done all year. I've been pretty much stuck here in Spartanburg all year. So and then seeing my mom and sister. So anyway, I'm hoping 2021 some events come back, because I am so missing seeing people. And I'm a people person and a half. In fact, when I went to see my friend, he's got a wife and two teenage daughters, and I was like, "Can I hug you like a little while longer than I normally would? Don't get weirded out by it." And of course, come on in. I know you haven't had a hug, so that was kind of weird. But anyway, you do what you got to do. So thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you next year. Bye. Bye, YouTube. Appreciate you being here today.